Alright y'all, here's how to do the Whole30 for those of us who are busy and lazy. Hi guys, it's Amanda with Eat, Pray, Crunch, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new here. Thanks for checking out Eat, Pray, Crunch. You guys have probably seen my couple of videos prior where I am talking about I'm going to be trying the Whole30 diet for the month of October. If you guys want to know the reasons why I am doing it and a little bit of background, what brought me to this journey of wanting to do this, I will have that video linked here. And if you guys want to see the video where I talk about all of the rules of the Whole30, that is right here. So I would suggest watching those two videos before watching this one. Those are kind of a preface for what I'm about to talk about here. So today I am going to be talking about how to meal plan for the Whole30. Now, let me preface this by saying I hate meal planning. Let me just put that out there. I hate meal planning. I've talked about this before. This is no secret. Meal planning is not one of my favorite things to do in life. And you know, it's kind of paradoxical because I am a real food enthusiast, yet I hate meal planning. And I like cooking, but I don't love cooking. So what's a person to do who is not a huge fan of meal planning and you want to do a diet like the Whole30, which is like really heavy meal planning, but you believe in the principles behind it? I'm going to tell you what my solution is going to be to that. I'm assuming that a lot of you guys are really busy. Perhaps a lot of you are moms, just like me. I have a 3.5-year-old and an 18-month-old. So it's not like I'm just sitting on my couch in the afternoon for hours and hours dreaming about meal plans that I can come up that are clean and Whole30 friendly and everything. If you're like me, if you want to succeed at doing this thing, it's got to be simple, it's got to be easy, it's got to be doable. So that is my goal in my journey, is to do this in a way that is really doable, you know, doing meals that are easy for the average person who's not like really into cooking or really into meal planning. The way I am approaching the Whole30 meal planning is kind of how we do meal planning in general, which isn't that structured. I am a very right-brained person, and the way I kind of go through life is by following my inspirations rather than like very rigid structure. So basically how I meal plan in general, even when I'm not doing Whole30, is that I like to buy things in bulk. I don't like to shop very often. I'll go to Costco and get a huge haul of groceries that will last me 2 or 3 weeks. We'll go to the grocery store maybe once a week just to fill in the gaps, but we also buy all of our meat in bulk from local farms or from family that we know who raises grass-fed pastured meat. So we actually have a freezer in our garage that is full of meat. You know, sometimes we'll go in on a meat share and get like 1/4 of a cow with other people, or, you know, like I said, we have family that we know that raises chickens, sheep, and pigs. So we've gotten meat from our families as well. So we have a freezer full of meat, and so that's kind of just how we function. Is, you know, I'm not the kind of person who is so structured that I like sit down every week and think, okay, this is what I'm going to plan for dinners for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I just don't operate that way. Maybe if meal planning was something I loved, that would be something that I would do because I would be motivated to do it because I liked it, but I don't like doing that. So usually the way I do it is a very right-brained way of doing things, I guess you could say. I usually go out to the freezer and see what kind of cuts of meat we have, and I pull something out and start thawing it, and then I look up a recipe for what I can make with that. Either something that I've already done before that I know by heart, or if I'm feeling adventurous, you know, looking up a new recipe. And then I make big batches of things so that they last, so that I don't have to cook every night. Because like I said, I like cooking, but I don't love cooking. So I like maybe cooking 2 to 4 times a week. And so I just make big batches of things and we eat on leftovers for a few days. And this is how my husband works too, so we're on the same page there. We both like doing that. I know that a lot of people don't like eating leftovers. We're totally fine with that because it means less work overall. So with that premise, I kind of came to the realization that if I'm going to be successful with the Whole30, I'm gonna have to take that approach with this diet as well if I'm going to succeed, because that's just kind of how I function. And if I try to make it a bigger deal than that, I'll fall off the bandwagon. I just know it. So with that said, let me go over some tips that I came up with. So with meal planning for the Whole30, I am using the KISS principle. And if you guys have not heard of the KISS principle, that means keep it simple, stupid. So that is what I am telling myself, keep it simple. And so basically what I did was last night, I sat down and I just decided I'm going to spend one evening planning out the entire 30 days. Now, this is way less daunting than it sounds, and let me tell you why. I did spend maybe like 2 hours doing this, but then everything is going to be set in motion for the entire month, and it's creating a system that allows me to basically not think very much as I'm going through this, which is awesome because I need this to be think-proof, you guys. At first I was like, oh, I need to find a meal plan that is like already exactly set out with the grocery list and every exact steps that I need to do so that I can follow it and not have to think about it. This is one thing that I will say is the downside of the Whole30 is I was hoping they would have something like that in this book, and they don't. They kind of expect you to come up with your own meal plans. I also have this book, It Starts with Food, which kind of goes into all of the science and the why of the Whole30 and why it works and everything. And they do have these like templates in the back of the book for how to go about your meal planning. And I was skimming through these and I'm like, this is way too overwhelming for me. It's like, you know, pick a meat, pick a vegetable, and like all of this like thinking and processing and putting things together. And then you have to make a grocery list from it. And like, honestly, I was totally overwhelmed by that. So I'm like, I need something simpler than this. I went online to see if there was like a blog or something that had everything planned out, bam, 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 day by day, every meal. And they do exist. But the ones that I found, either, you know, they would have a meal plan laid out, but then they wouldn't have the recipes. So that doesn't really help me because I need it all laid out for me if I'm gonna have this be think-proof. And there was another one that did have the recipes and the shopping list and everything. And I found that to be helpful in my planning, but the recipes that I saw on there, at least some of them were good, but some of them were just like a little too involved and a little more work than I wanted to be doing during this month. Sometimes I do like being adventurous and trying more complicated recipes, but I know that if I'm going to be sticking to this strict regime, I need it to be really simple. I don't want to be spending a lot of time cooking. That will cause me a lot of stress. So I needed it to be simple. So I'm like, well, this is closer, but it's a little bit more effort than I want to put in. So I was like, all right, new plan. So what I did was that I went on to Pinterest because everybody's like, oh, Pinterest is full of amazing Whole30 recipes and everything. You know, I've mentioned this in videos before. I'm actually not a huge Pinterest person. I know, I'm the minority here. I feel like having 1 or 2 forms of social media is enough for me because I got a lot going on in my life and ain't nobody got time for all that other social media, you know what I'm saying? But I do have a Pinterest account that I have in the past just, you know, put a few ideas that I want to remember later on, but honestly, like, I rarely spend time on Pinterest. So I did go on there for the first time in probably like a year. I know, probably a lot of you other moms are like, what, are you crazy? Yes, I admit it. But what I did was I went to Pinterest and I searched easy Whole30 recipes. And it just gave me this whole smattering of amazing recipes. I actually found myself kind of liking Pinterest. Oh my God. I hope this isn't the start of an addiction for me. They were easy Whole30 recipes, simple, don't take much time, no-brainer kind of stuff, which is what I wanted. So what I did, let me show you what I did. This is nothing fancy, but I got 4 pieces of paper. I got 1 for breakfast, 1 for lunches, 1 for snacks, and 1 for dinners. And I basically just went through these Pinterest recipes, and as I saw one that was like a breakfasty kind of thing, I put it on my breakfast list. If I saw one that was a dinnery thing, I put it on my dinner list. And I knew that I wanted to have a list of a lot more dinners because that's usually what I spend more time cooking anyway. Usually what we do for breakfast is like basically the same 3 things over and over, same with lunch. And I'm okay with that. Like I'm not the kind of person where I need to have something new and different every day with what I eat. I guess I'm just that boring. So I'm like, okay, since that's how I normally function, breakfasts and lunches, I need to just come up with like 3 breakfasts and 3 lunches that I can just eat over and over the whole time. And I know that that's not going to work for some of you, but if you function like me, this is the way to go and you don't have to think about it. So basically the things that I have are eggs, any style. So I guess I can get my variation in how I cook the eggs. And I actually remember seeing this meme going around Facebook a month or 2 ago, and then I saw it on this Pinterest again, and it's making sweet potato toast. And that's basically like a slice of raw sweet potato and you stick it in your toaster like toast and it cooks it, and you use that in place of bread. I was like, oh, that's really genius. And so I'm like, that's what I can do, because I normally do have eggs and toast most mornings anyway. So it's making it so it's not that different than my normal routine. And however I cook the eggs and sausage, I can put them over a bed of spinach every morning or a bed of greens. Just get one of those tubs of pre-washed, pre-cut, you know, spinach, baby spinach, arugula, whatever green I'm feeling that week, and putting the eggs on top of that. And then also adding whatever fruit. I have a banana most mornings. I'll probably still have a banana most mornings. That is my ridiculously simple breakfast plan. I'm okay with that monotony for 30 days. Totally fine with it. Same thing with lunches. I came up with a list of, let's see, about 5 recipes that I saw on Pinterest, and just some things that I thought of, things that I can just eat over and over every day for lunch or rotate through them. I normally have a sandwich most days for lunch. So you are allowed to have lunch meat from good grass-fed sources that don't have certain additives, that kind of thing. So I'm going to have lunch meat be one of my lunch staples, and then going with the, you know, sweet potato as bread kind of thing, making a sandwich out of that, or using lettuce to make wraps instead of, you know, doing a taco or a wrap, that kind of thing. And then just adding vegetables into that. Adding avocado because it has good fats, it's filling. And I also saw a really interesting idea of making avocado tuna. So that actually sounded pretty good to me. There are lots of variations, you know, I can vary it up a little with the kinds of sandwiches that I make. This is probably the most adventurous I'm ever going to get for lunch, but it was prosciutto egg cups, where you put a piece of prosciutto in the little muffin tins and crack an egg into each one and, I don't know, put some sort of seasoning on it and bake it. And it looked really good. And then also just having a general category of salads. Salads are so versatile. You know, if I always just keep greens on hand and just throw vegetables into it, and always maybe have like pre-cooked meat or leftover meat from dinners or whatever that I can just throw on top of the salad. That is it for my lunch plans. Rotating through those things, just vary it up with the kind of wrap or the kind of sandwich that I do or the kind of salad, and call it good. Then for snacks, I'm actually still making my list. I haven't quite finished it yet going through Pinterest, but I also found some approved snacks that are okay, that are pre-made. So I made a list of those things, and a lot of them I am already eating, like seaweed and Lara bars and dried fruit and nuts. You are supposed to go easy on the dried fruit, not overdo it, but it is an option. And then just another go-to snack is any sort of fruit or vegetable with almond butter. So, you know, apples with almond butter, or making ants on a log, which is, you know, little celery with almond butter and raisins on top, and it really tastes good too. And also having guacamole on hand all the time, so I can have veggies dipped in guacamole. And that is it. And then dinners. So when I was going through Pinterest, I chose things that I basically already know how to make, that just had some variation, or, you know, if I needed to, I could just not even think, like, I know the recipe, I could do it in my sleep kind of thing. Those kinds of recipes I put on my list. For example, things like baked chicken, baked salmon, you know, baked any kind of fish, that kind of thing. Really, really easy. You just toss it in the pan with some oil and salt and seasonings. Call it good. I can do those in my sleep. And then some overlap with the lunches, doing lettuce wraps instead of tortillas, using lettuce as wraps, and doing like Mexican themed kind of dinners. So I have a number of like Mexican themed recipes on here that are, you know, made with approved ingredients like that. Also doing burgers. That was another thing, is putting burgers in lettuce, and, you know, instead of having a bun, you have it in a lettuce wrap. So there's just a lot of variation that you can do with a lot of the same ingredients, just varying it up in how you prepare it. And then noodle dishes, I do have a vegetable spiralizer, so I can spiralize zucchini into zoodles. And I know you can also use like spaghetti squash instead of noodles, that kind of thing. And then just preparing a normal spaghetti sauce like I normally would. Just, you know, simmering, like making a big old batch of spaghetti sauce in the crock pot and having it last 4 or 5 days. And then I have like a few side ideas, like just chop a bunch of vegetables, put them all in the pan, either olive oil or coconut oil, a little bit of salt, roast them in the oven. Really simple. And that is the extent of my dinner meal planning. So as you can see, there's like a little bit of variations on themes going on, but a lot of the same ingredients. So I really don't have to think very much, and I wrote all these down on my list so that I can refer back to them. Most of the time what I do is that, you know, like I said, I pick a meat and then decide what I want the recipe to be. I am going to be one step more structured than that I normally am, and that I think I will probably plan out like 3 or 4 meals for the week, and just to make sure that I have all the ingredients. It's a little different than normal. Normally I can just ad lib and add this or add that, but I have to make sure that all of the ingredients are approved for the whole 30. So I am going to plan week by week, but only 3 or 4 meals, and that's it, and make big old batches and just have them last. So that is my plan. So those are my specific meal plans and how I'm going to go about those, and snacks included, everything. So I also have a few reference things from like the Whole30 website that I keep referring back to. They have a page on their website that is "Can I eat this?" And it's basically this big old long list. Yes or no, can I eat this? Can I eat that? If you're curious about this or that ingredient, you can just go there and reference it. I will have that webpage linked below if you need that as a reference. So I've also made a list of substitutes for foods that I normally eat that are Whole30 approved. Now, like I said, in the rules of the Whole30, you're not allowed to make like paleo desserts or, you know, do paleo baking, that kind of thing. You're not supposed to do anything that's like dessert-like, because you're supposed to be changing your brain wiring to not be craving sweet things so much. But there are other more savory things that you can do to substitute things you normally have. So for example, for mayo, I'm probably going to use like pureed avocado, like mayonnaise for making things like tuna salad or egg salad, that kind of thing. And like I said, you know, I'll be using lettuce instead of tortillas, sweet potato slices instead of bread, coconut oil instead of butter. You are allowed to use clarified butter or ghee, but that's a really reactive food for me, so I am going to be avoiding that and just using coconut oil for everything. And like I said, doing zoodles, you know, zucchini noodles for noodles, or spaghetti squash for noodles. Oh, like stir fries, doing cauliflower rice instead of rice. So I have like my list of substitutes. If I need to reference that for this or that meal, I just have that on hand. And that is everything that I have that I'm going to need to reference. So in terms of shopping now, I am going to try to only shop once or twice for this entire thing. And like I said, that's kind of how we normally do our shopping anyway. You know, we do maybe 2 or 3 big loads of groceries every month, and then they just last us. So from those recipes that I just told you, I am making a master list of things that I need to get at Costco, and I'm going to buy them in bulk. I will go to Costco and buy those things, and then find out, okay, what wasn't at Costco, what do I still need to get? And then go to my natural food store to get the rest of it. And then, you know, stocking up the pantry, stocking up the freezer. There are some things, obviously, like some produce and stuff that we will have to get on more of like a weekly basis. But for the most part, I'm going to just try to have all of the ingredients stocked and ready, so I don't even have to think about shopping in addition. So I'm trying to just have this all laid out, all ready, so I don't even have to think. I found a website that has a list of all of the Whole30 compliant foods that are at Costco, and that was so helpful to me. They have things like a brand of guacamole that's compliant, and, you know, like the like Adele sausage, certain pre-made things that you can get that are approved and coming from good ingredients. I added those to my Costco list as well. I should also say that you know, things like the Adele sausage, that's something that we have as just like a no-brainer meal a lot of the time anyway. We just throw them in the microwave and then like have a salad with it and call it dinner. And so I want to make sure that I have a lot of those on hand just in case I get stuck, because there are days. Are you with me? There are days with small children where dinner is not happening. You know what I'm saying? I just need to throw something in the microwave. And so I want to be able to have an approved fallback, and so I will probably be eating things like that, or eggs, that kind of thing, if I'm in a pinch. So yeah, so check out that website. There actually are a bunch of them. You can actually just Google Whole30 Costco list, and there are actually a bunch of blogs that have these lists of approved items at Costco. It's amazing. And like I said, like, I probably won't even have to buy a whole lot of meat since we have a freezer full of meat already. So that's great. That's helpful. That's one less thing I have to get. So if you guys do what we do and do like a meat share, that kind of thing, like, you're already set in the meat department. One last tip that I have is that since you want to make this easy for yourself and you want to set yourself up for success, even if you're a lazy meal planner like me, one little tip that I do anyway, this is something that I just do in our daily lives anyway. I get a cutting board out every day and I leave it out all day with a knife. So it's really easy for me to grab a vegetable, grab a fruit, and chop it and have that as a snack. So it's really easy. It's like I don't have to think about it. No, the cutting board is like right there. I don't know what it is about having the cutting board out that just makes it like less of a mental block. It's like, oh, I can just chop this up and eat it, you know, and then just rinse it off between each use. So that's just one little tip that I have. Or if you're really prepared, unlike me, you could like chop up a bunch of veggies a few days beforehand and have them last you for a few days for a snack. Who knows, maybe I'll be living on the wild side and trying something like that. So that is all I have for tips for making the Whole30 like stupid easy. I know there've got to be some other people out there who are like me and dislike meal planning as much as I do, and I hope that this is helpful for you. Like I've said in the other videos, I am doing this whole weight loss series as part of a collab with some of the lovely ladies of the YouTube Mommy Meetup, and I will have all of their channels listed down in the description down below, and I definitely encourage you to go check out their channels because they are all on a weight loss journey as well, and they're all going about it in different ways, and I know that you guys are just going to find some other awesome YouTubers on this collab, so be sure to check them out as well. That is it. I hope that was helpful for you guys. And if you guys are doing the Whole30 along with me, I know some of you guys said that you're going to be joining me on this. Thank you. I am so excited to have some of you guys on this journey with me, and let's keep encouraging each other. If you are doing this, let me know in the comments below. What's your plan of attack for meal plans? I know a lot of people are into meal planning a lot more than I am, in which case, you know, maybe you're following the template guide from this book, or maybe you're planning out a lot in a lot more structured way than I am. And if you are, leave those in the comments below because that can definitely be helpful for people who function that way a little bit more. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can continue joining me on this journey. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.